Warning, this episode contains strong language. Hi, just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving from everyone here at the podcast, the Lone Star Plate. Just want to say thank you for supporting us. It makes all the difference, and without y'all, I couldn't keep doing it, right? None of us could. So thank you so much for supporting us and for continuing to support us. We have a lot of great, exciting things coming in the new year, and we're just keep getting better with the podcast. We're giving you guys more stuff. So if you invest in us, I promise, we're taking the time to invest in you. So again, hope you have a great holiday this Thanksgiving with your family. Hope this episode today we're releasing on Thanksgiving lets you have a little bit fun. If you're not with your family, this is a great episode to throw on and hang out with us. So all right, happy Thanksgiving from the Lone Star Plate Podcast. Welcome to the Lone Star Plate Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Join me and a famous guest. We discuss their career, life, food, Texas, and everything in between. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Lone Star Plate Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. You can just call me Patrick if you like. Okay, or whatever. You don't have to call me anything, right? You just listen to this damn thing. Okay, my guest today is Alex Reymundo. This was such an awesome podcast. Okay, let me tell you. Alex was with the original Latin Kings of Comedy. Okay, Alex, he's a comedian. So this is the first comedian we've had on the podcast. I laughed my ass off. All right, so Alex tours with Ron White. They've been friends for ages. And they actually own a tequila company together, them too. It's called Number Juan Tequila. And it's right here. Look. Okay, if you're listening to this, you're not going to see it, but if you're watching on YouTube, boom, I'm showing the bottle here. It's such an amazing bottle. I went and bought it at the store. This is the Blanco. And Alex had me go get the bottle, and we drank tequila on the podcast. So I believe, this is the first, also a first of me drinking on the podcast. So I get drunk in the podcast. Okay, I'm sorry. It doesn't get too out of hand or anything, but I definitely am drunk. And to be honest with you, I forgot we were doing the podcast. Like that's the truth. Alex and I were having such a good time. We were just conversing. Like old friends, he might not go that far, but whatever, just to put words to what it felt like. That's how the conversation goes. And that's what I'm looking for in the podcast, right? Just those nice, candid, raw conversations. And it happened. Tequila definitely loosens you up. So we had a great time, drinking and just talking about comedy and his history and, the tequila company and just so much, the state of comedy, cancel culture and that whole thing of how that works into comedy and how comedians have felt, what they can say and what they can't. And just really cool. This was like one of my favorite podcasts we've done for sure. And, maybe now we can get Ron White on the podcast. We've been trying to get Ron White. And to be fair, his people have been super nice to us the whole time, telling us no, right? It's not now. But he has responded and been cool about it. So that's more than I can say for some guests that we reach out to that don't respond. And then nothing against that. They're busy. They're whatever. We never take offense to that. We'll keep trying. To be honest with you, we trust me. We do a lot to get the guest here on the podcast. We'll keep trying. We'll keep emailing. We push. It's a process. Let me tell you. And people have schedules, right? We deal with celebrities. They've got busy schedules. So sometimes it's hard to get in there, but you got to stay with it. But anyway, enough of that. Who wants to hear about all that? So Alex, yes, this was such an amazing podcast. And please, look, I've decided to keep this bottle of Number Juan Tequila as part of the Lone Star Plate studio setup. So you're going to see the bottle of tequila in every episode. Okay, and I'm just going to talk about it randomly because, to be honest with you, I do endorse this tequila. Okay, not just because it's Alex and Ron White's. I endorse it because it is delicious. Like, no shit. This is really good tequila. Smooth. I drink so much, and I don't really drink very much. Zero hangover. It just felt good. It was smooth. That's what I got to say. It was smooth. I just drank it. I didn't even, nothing. I just drank it straight up. It's that good a tequila. You can just drink it straight up. And, they've got a reposado and they've got an extra añejo. So they skip the añejo and just go to the extra. And Alex actually goes into that reasoning. And we talk about tequila. He knows a lot. So really cool. Yeah, a lot of firsts on this podcast. So this is a great podcast to drink along with us. I'm not going to lie. This would be a good podcast to drink along with us. So if you can, go get a bottle of Number Juan Tequila. That would be good. And, who knows? We'll be talking to Alex. Maybe they become a sponsor of the show, somehow. They give me some bottles. We do a giveaway and give out some bottles of tequila to some people. That would be cool, right? So we'll see if we can make that happen. Yeah. But before we get to the episode, as always, time for our Bet You Didn't Know That segment. So I don't know if I'm going to put music over that. So if you hear music right now, I decided yes. Yeah, I think it does need a little like theme music or something, right? We need like a little Price is Right music or something going on. All right. So yeah, Bet You Didn't Know That. So this is, again, we're thank you to our sponsor, Texas Real Food. Check out their website, texasrealfood.com. But if you follow them on social media, what they do a lot is put up these cool Texas Real Food facts. So that's what we're going to go over. So again, off the Instagram, let's get to it. Food facts. Fun Texas food facts. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, number one. This is actually a crazy fact, y'all. You're not going to believe this. The average age of a Texas farmer and rancher is... I'm going to let you guess for just a few seconds. Throw out an age. What do you think the average age of a Texas farmer and rancher is? Let me tell you something right now. Whatever number you throw, you're not even close. You're not even close. Okay? 60. That's right, folks. 60 years old. That's the average. That is insane. That is hard work, man. That is like dedication. That is just... That's why I love Texas so much. Love this state. That's badass. Name me another industry where that's the average age. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen. So very cool. All right, next food fact. Bet you didn't know that 4 pounds of feed are needed to produce 12 eggs. 4 pounds of feed, 12 eggs. So when you're eating your 12 eggs. It took 4 pounds to make that happen. Just FYI. Interesting. All right. Next food fact. Bet you didn't know that over 2 billion pounds of bacon are produced each year in the United States. 2 billion pounds of bacon. Wow. I'm a little speechless hearing that. 2 billion pounds of bacon. Just try to quantify that. 2 billion pounds. That's in a year. That's that it's produced each year in the U.S. How many pigs is that? That's a lot. We love bacon. I love bacon. I freaking love bacon. I mean, who doesn't love bacon? I guess there are people, right? Vegans. A vegan's like, me. All right. Okay. Next food fact. Interesting. I bet you didn't know it takes about 36 apples to create 1 gallon of apple cider. Wow. 36 apples to create 1 gallon of apple cider. I guess that's not too bad. But still, there you go. So, okay, that is our food facts for the day. Moving on to the next segment. Hope you enjoyed that. All right, so, as always, again, we like to highlight a cool article or something on the Texas Real Food site. Remember, go to texasrealfood.com/discover. You can find other things, we do articles, there's recipes, things like that as well on the site. So I thought what would be cool is to show, how about a cool, recipe, right? That could be cool. So let's see here. Oh, there's a great recipe right now for mashed sweet potatoes with a baked marshmallow topping. Be great for Thanksgiving, which is right now. So you're listening to this on Thanksgiving, probably too hard to make that last minute, but you can still make it for the weekend. Great for Christmas as well, and it's a great recipe. So yes, check that out. All right, guys, let's get to the episode. Alex Reymundo, Spanish speaking. He's from Acapulco. We spoke a little bit of Spanish at the beginning. He did throw out an interesting idea if I ever did an episode in Spanish, which I would be totally down for. Just worry about everyone else listening, right? I don't know how many of y'all speak Spanish. Podía intentarlo y si pasa, pasa. Si me entienden, pues no me entienden. Pueden, pues, evitar ese capítulo. So if you understood that, you know what I'm saying. If you didn't, you're like, oh, Patrick's going crazy. I haven't. But anyway, let's get to the episode, okay? Alex Reymundo. I can't say it like that. Reymundo, por favor, Dios, por Dios. Okay. Again, this is just, I can't tell you enough, guys, just what an amazing episode this is. So let's just get to it. Let's have a good time. Crack open that bottle. Get the limes ready. Although I didn't use any limes. Get your tequila ready. Get your drink ready. Let's do this. Let's have a good time. Let's laugh. Let's escape for just a little bit. And it's a little bit longer episode than normal because, again, we had a good time. All right, Alex Reymundo. Buen provecho. Enjoy.
All right, Patrick, sorry about that.
You're fine, man. You're fine. You got a show later on after this?
Yeah, we do the quarantine concert series, and let's see, what's just the new Don't Disturb on here? Oh, airplane mode. How about that? And we're doing it from this bar tonight. Usually it's a studio, like where I'm at, or like where you're at, and they've got some artist sits there and plays. Tonight is probably the 5th time that we've done it from a bar. So we've got a little bit of a live element, but the guy has all the equipment, but for some reason having issues. And he was like, how about I just put the iPhone and point it? And I said, yeah, no, because we got a full band and that could work if it was just one artist with a guitar,
100%,
acoustic. But I'm like, dude, we're going to hear all the noise in the bar. We're going to hear the drums more than anything. And now I need a clean mix. So anyway, they're working on it, and it's kind of crazy.
It's 2020, right? I would expect nothing less than craziness.
Right. It is 2020.
At least that's my life. That's actually made a lot of, nonsense just go away because you're like, fuck, what am I complaining about? It's 2020. Like, this is bullshit.
Right.
Just the normal shit.
Well, before we get into this, tell me, because where are you from? What's your story?
I'm from Texas mainly. I grew up here for the most part in Dallas, Fort Worth. My dad was in the Air Force, so I was born in Omaha. And my brother was born in Guadalajara. Actually, I told you my mom was from Mexico City, from DF.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Your dad is Americano and your mother is Mexicana. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember now.
Interesting household growing up in my household. Honestly, it was awesome. I went to Mexico a lot as a kid, to be honest with you. A lot. I used to spend summers there. My parents would just my brother and I put us on a plane, and we'd be gone the whole summer till we got back for school. And we just pop around Mexico with different family members. Stay with an aunt here for 3 weeks, go with another aunt, go with cousins, go here, go there, wherever. That
sounds like a Latino family.
Yeah, 100%. It's just how it was. So yeah, man, great memories. So, still obviously part of my life. I went to Spain, became a resident of Spain. Actually, my wife's from there. So I lived in Spain as well, for a few years. So, I'm all Latin, dude. My whole household we only speak Spanish in my house. Actually, there's no English.
Nice. De veras.
Yeah.
Me gusta. All right. Well, then I'm more excited about this. So we have a little, tenemos licencia para hablar en español si queremos.
Venga, vámonos. No pasa nada. I've never done a Spanish podcast. I would love to. Let's just do it. Hey,
we'll mix it up, and because we'll see what your audience thinks.
Absolutely.
They might not even know that you speak Spanish.
Well, they probably do. I say things here and there. They probably heard me talk about Spain. They're like, "Stop talking about Spain, Patrick. Shut the fuck up already." This is we know, we know. So yeah, yeah, man. I'm super excited to talk to you, man. I feel like this is so strange because I've been watching your stand up like crazy, so much of it on,
thank you, brother,
on my TV. So this is like, I mean, it's such an odd when you have that thing. So, I figured what we would do is obviously we got your tequila here. We talked earlier and I went out and bought your tequila here. Make sure I got it positioned right in my camera. Okay, cool. Yeah. Number Juan, obviously love the name. That's great. Number Juan Tequila. So what I figured we do is obviously pop it open. We start drinking a little. And then what I figured we do is I just have a bunch of things I'd love to talk to you about. And then I figured the tequila will find its way into the conversation here and there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That sort of thing. So
anyway, you want to lead, my friend.
I haven't even cracked this open. I mean, I haven't even.
I think we should,
right.
You sign on however you do it. And I think the first thing we should do is don't spend time on the tequila, but let's drink it. Let's have a toast and say, we're going to get back to this. Because we don't want to make it about the tequila right away. I want to go where you want to go. Oh,
for sure. Well, I mean, honestly, there's no signing on or out. Like the podcast has started.
Oh,
this is it. This is okay. I don't do like a whole That's I do an intro like when I record, separate intro that record, but I just jump right into. This is a conversation, man. I don't do interviews. I do conversations. So yeah, we're here. We're in. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna crack it open, man. I love the bottle, first of all. Super cool bottle. Sticks out. And in fact, where you sent me, the Total Wine place,
right?
They knew right away, man. As soon as I asked, I said, I'm here for Number Juan, right this way. You know what I mean? So that was nice. I was like, oh shit. Okay.
That's what we love about Total Wine, and they're good to us all across the country.
That's awesome.
Let's
okay, I gotta smell this, man.
Here
we go, right?
So what you're drinking there, Patrick, is the foundation of our tequila. Is everything. Every tequila company, whatever they make, reposados, añejos, extra añejos, and all kinds of stuff. But it all starts with the blanco tequila. And what you have in your hands is a bottle that is.
First, I got my special shot.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
This is like. Hey, this is straight
pull
up.
That out in the dark when you're meeting ladies. Dude. Hey, oh my God!
For real. This has been in my family for like. This has been in my family forever.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
Yeah. I'm just spill it.
So the bottle you're drinking is our Blanco. The plants. Here's what's beautiful about the people that make our tequila, the Rivera family, and it's called the Rivesca distillery. They've been doing it for almost 100 years, but they do not compromise integrity for mass production. And the plants are allowed 7 to 8 years to mature. And then when they harvest, the land sits dormant for a full season before they replant to let the earth recoup. And it makes beautiful Blanco tequila.
Man, this is delicious, dude. This is so good, guys. Okay, for those of you listening, which is the majority of our audience listens.
Right.
I have this is just what are we? I don't even know what I call this. Una bota. This is just una bota.
Una bota.
But these are real. People really wear botas like this. Like this.
Oh yeah.
In fact, my cousins used to go
usually
to
my brothers
Leon,
and sisters,
right? Don't they? The more it points back at you, the better off you're doing. That's funny. Yeah, it's delicious, man. It's really smooth. I love drinking tequila. Do you ever find it surprising that people will like, oh, you drink tequila just straight, just like right out of the bottle? You don't need to shake. I'm like, yeah, I'll just drink it straight up. No.
Yeah, I've been drinking it since I was 14, so I've kind of overcome that part. and I just remember when I was a younger man, people would look at me and go, dude, you hit that tequila pretty hard and things like that. And I would just always tell people, tequila is just such a better buzz. And I'll be honest with you, back in the day, I didn't know why it was a better buzz. And now as I've matured in drinking, not in my life, but as I've matured, I found out tequila is a stimulant. Everything else you put in your body, alcohol wise, beer, wine included, is a depressant. So it's a completely different buzz. Tequila.
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah. It lowers blood sugar, it lowers cholesterol. It's gluten-free, has probiotics in it, has natural diuretics. People that have celiac disease, their doctors will tell them that really the only alcohol you should consume is tequila because of that. And it's just better for your body. And I think the only thing tequila's ever been known to increase is the population.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Which is not such a bad thing either, you know? But I always just loved it. And I remember in my young career, you know, I played a lot of places in the Midwest, and there was at least 3 times that I'd go back to a club or a one-night room or something, and somebody would see me go, "You're the tequila dude." And I didn't have a tequila company back then. It's just I would literally drink 12, on average, 8 to 13 shots during a 45 to 1 hour, 20-minute show.
What?
And I had the ability to still stand and talk. And
I thought you were going to say like all day, all night, which is
no.
You're like oh my God. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's
it is a lot. And I'm not saying that like I'm proud of it. My mother would be very disappointed in me, but I just learned that the tequila, it's a stimulant. You know, people say it makes you crazy. Well, yeah, it's a stimulant, and I've learned to sip on it. And as a matter of fact, every once in a while when I shoot, because I don't drink anybody's tequila but mine now. But when I do take a shot with friends, I enjoy it, but I also think, man, I just burned 25 good minutes that I could have just enjoyed that, like a cigar. You know, I'm not a cigar smoker, but
good call. Yeah. That's, in fact, I brought I smoke, but I roll my own cigarettes, so I don't smoke.
Yeah, me too.
I don't smoke very much. Yeah. Well, I'm in Texas, so I'm like, you know. Anyway, I brought my tobacco. I was like, okay, I'm drinking. I have to smoke because, again, like I told you on the phone, I don't drink too much. I used to. That's the problem. Like I'm not really one of these guys. Like I'll just have one drink and be. You know. I'll be halfway through the bottle when I drink. That's why I don't drink very often. So I just leave it. Dude, when I lived in Veracruz, like 8 years ago, I was drinking like a fish. Just so much. You're on the beach. There's great tacos, great food, and great tequila, and it's cheap as hell. So yeah, my wife didn't appreciate that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what else do you want?
My wife didn't appreciate that, but
I learned years ago that I should not be the guy in charge of regulating my vices. You know, I just I enjoy them too much.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is I say these words, and I have a daughter who's 22 and my son is 18 now, and I'm realizing I get frustrated with him sometimes because he's kind of got an appetite for destruction as well, and I try to tell him, I say, son, and he thinks I'm such a stick in the mud. He's like, dude, where you? And I don't want to tell him all the stories about me yet, you know, because I'm trying to still direct him. But when I see the things he does, sometimes as I get frustrated, I realize I need to ease up because I'm looking at myself when I was his age. I really am.
Absolutely. And how did you feel when somebody was pushing down on you? You were like, fuck, I'm doing this more.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Yeah. But you're also the parent though. So, you know.
I'm in a different role now.
Yeah.
I'm in a different role. And it's like I told my wife one day, I just realized because she told me, she said, you know, he's where do you think he gets it? And I went, wow. What do you got to tell me the truth for?
Yeah. What do you got to? That's hilarious. Yeah. Well, you got to be honest. That's not what we're shooting for here. That's funny. Well, look, let's, okay. So I tell you what I'd like for you to do, if you can, just give us like a quick, a little bit more than an elevator pitch of the tequila, how it got started. And then I'd like to, get into some of your comedy here and some of the things.
Well, the tequila is it kind of goes hand in hand with the comedy. Like I said, ever since I started, I guess I drank it to just break my nerves up there. But I fell in love with the buzz. And as things started to go well for me after the Latin Kings of Comedy, when people started to know my name, you know, I was having a lot of fun because suddenly people were paying to see me, and the rooms were, you know, not always full, but at least way more full than they were, you know, prior to that. And then I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna I'm going to take a little responsibility here and try to educate people on tequila and at least turn them on to what I thought was good tequilas. And I started, turning people on to Coralejo back in the day, turning them on to Centenario, Tres Generaciones back in the day. They were purchased. Tres Generaciones was purchased by another company. And now I don't really care for their tequila because it's mass produced. And I'm sorry, Tres Generaciones. I'm just, telling what I know. But as I was doing that, I was pretty much just having fun, turning people on to good tequilas. And one day I was in Mexico drinking for fun with my friend Ron White, who I've known forever since day one of doing stand-up. And he and I were there and we stumbled across this little distillery. Turns out it's been there almost 100 years, and it's not a beautiful distillery. As a matter of fact, it's you wouldn't even see it if you would drive right by it and not know it. Herradura is right down the road from it. It's 2 kilometers from the original town, Tequila. But when we drank this tequila, I looked at the guy, and I'm a fan of a lot of tequilas, a lot of them. But I've never found a label that I liked all their expressions. And when I drank these guys 4 expressions, I just looked at him and went, okay, hands down, across the board, all 4 expressions, that's the best tequila I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
And that was just my statement. And Ron White, who we all know, right? Texas boy, great comic, blue collar comedy tour. He looked at me and said, Alex, and he was talking about their extra añejo. He said, that's not just the best tequila I've ever had. He goes, that's the best drink of liquor I've ever had. And he's famous for being a Scotch drinker. And then we both just looked at the guy that owns the distillery. And I said, we want to buy some bottles. So we bought the set, and then we said, where can we buy this in America? Where can we, what city, what state, and he looked at us, he said, we don't have US distribution. And that's where the businessman and me and Ron kind of took over. And we were like, oh my God, I thought I've got an audience. And Ron looked at me and said, come on, we'll start drinking tequila. And I said, Ron, you're branded as a Scotch guy. I mean, come on. And I told him he was drunk. And this is no lie. This is no lie. He was drunk. He was. Yeah. But he said, no, we're going to do this. And we could, and I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to turn people on to this. And the next morning, I literally wake up with Ron in my face, just like this. And he goes, and I was like, because he's not that pretty in the morning. And he goes, I'm not drunk now. Do you still want to do this or not? And I said, really? And we didn't get the rights to it right away. We had to convince the owner of the distillery and his family that we would put the same heart and passion into talking about this tequila as they do into making it. And we've had it in the country now 7 years. We're working on 7 years in August of next year, and which is 7 years in the country, like a lot of my cousins. And
mine too.
We've now been to 6 national blind taste test festivals. We've walked away with 2 bronze, 2 silver, 15 gold, and a platinum medal. Our bottles have placed every single time. And now I know what we thought about that tequila. People are starting to know it's the best that's out there, and for a good price point. You can buy a bottle
price
of tequila.
Point is spot on. Absolutely.
You can find a bottle of tequila. I'm drinking the Reposado. That easily could be $70, and but it's not, because it's mine and Ron's company. We don't have we're not. I really want people to know we're not the faces of it. We are the owners. It's our company. We run, own, and operate it, and we don't have a big marketing budget. We have me and Ron going, we got some tequila over here.
Yeah,
come on, join the party. Which is all we're really doing. I always say we're not selling anything. We're just trying to share the mood that we're in, which is a pretty good one.
Absolutely. And with tequila, that it's funny. I was going to ask you that, Ron being famous for bourbon, Scotch, why he's going to go with tequila. It must have felt, or he must have had that same sort of notes, right? Flavors, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the black bottle, the one that he's so fond of, the extra añejo. I mean, look at that color difference.
Look at that color. I know.
Look at that. And what this one
Like a brandy.
is right. What this one is it's what you're drinking, the white tequila, aged 3.5 years in a retired bourbon barrel. So if you're a Scotch drinker, a bourbon drinker, a cognac drinker, you're going to hit all those notes. But the best part is they all taste so different.
That's awesome.
But they give you the exact same buzz. The one I'm drinking is the white tequila aged in 3 barrels, bourbon, cognac, and French red wine. So that's something really, really special happening there.
Wow.
But they're and that's what I loved about them too. They're so different from each other, but at the same time, they're all gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like the ladies.
Yeah,
a blonde, a brunette, and a redhead.
Absolutely.
Completely different, but you gotta love them all.
They're all ladies, so but
yes,
that's it. That's all I need in common. Did they have this? So they had this whole line when you guys already came up to them.
Oh yeah, and as a matter of fact, they have a fourth
these.
bottle. They have a fourth bottle. We don't carry the añejo in the U.S. because the añejo is just like the extra añejo, just aged a little shorter time. And I just thought they were too similar, and I didn't want to take up 4 spaces on the shelves. And I just thought, and to be honest with you, I think this reposado goes toe to toe against any labels añejo because it is the 3 barrels and it's 9 months. The category for reposado is 3 to 9 months in whatever barrel you choose. And again, most mass producers, as soon as that clock hits 3 months, boom. That's why their color is so much lighter than ours. But ours is 9 months and 3. So technically here you have 3 full-bodied reposados coming together to make one. And again, I think it goes toe to toe against anybody's añejo.
It's like when the triple cask, right? Sort of the same deal. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it really is good, man. I mean, I'm not bullshitting because I wouldn't bullshit. Yeah, cheers.
Not with that boot.
Yeah, I totally wouldn't bullshit you. I would just say, yeah, this bottle looks cool. But it really tastes amazing. It's great. It's a drinkable. This is like I could just keep drinking out of this, and that's what turns people off from tequila, right? When they're like, "Oh no, I can't. I gotta have salt on my hand and a lime,
and I gotta hold my nose, and I gotta face east." Oh wait a minute, that's a religion. But yeah, it's crazy. It's like taking medicine, And these guys are, which is another thing we loved about them. They are genuinely artists in what they do, which is, I think, another reason that Ron and I really gravitate towards what they're doing, and Ron and I will never step in their kitchen. I'll never go in there and go, you know what y'all should do with the tequila? Because I don't know.
Thank God. Yes.
I'm not going to Jerry Jones it.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Even though I wear his colors proudly.
Yeah. There you go. Well, look,
we're 2 and 28, and I would still wear the colors.
Well, you're probably from the heyday, grew up in Dallas. So the heyday of the 90s, like, they'll never lose. And then they haven't won since. But, it's funny. I worked in a lot of restaurants, and owners would always come in and try to tell the chef something or this, that. And as soon as that owner leaves, we're all bitching about, like, what the fuck? That guy has no fucking clue what the fuck he's talking about. Right. Yeah. Coming in here. Get out. Exactly. Just let us do this.
Pinche culero.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I wish we could say that. Yeah. That's hilarious. That is so funny. That's funny. I did have to learn like a different Spanish when I got to Spain.
Oh yeah.
I bet. It is a different.
Con la lengua para afuera.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what my wife talks.
It's like Spanish with a lisp.
Yeah, that's it. It really is a lisp. It's almost like they try to tell me it's not, but I'm like, it's a lisp, guys. It's a lisp.
Yeah, it's a lisp. It's like Cuban Spanish. The Cubans, they take the hard sounds off and la quina instead of esquina.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. Absolutely. They all have their different dialects. Somebody from Peru, somebody from Argentina. I can spot that. Colombia, Cuban is and even Puerto Rican. I can, that's pretty.
Well, think about it. It happens here in the U.S. Go to 100%. Atlanta. Go to
New
Chicago,
York, right? Yeah.
Go to Jersey. Go to Texas. I forget what I sound like. I play places in L.A. and all the Latino people. The first time I ever played the Laugh Factory there, it's Latino night, and which is, by the way, that was the pulse of Latin comedy for a long time, was the Laugh Factory on Monday night. But the first time I perform, it's packed, and I'm thinking it's going to be great, and I'm doing my thing, and they're having fun, and I literally hear, because she's not but 7 feet from me, this girl leans to her boyfriend. She goes, "This guy, he kind of talk kind of funny." And I was like, "I talk funny," and I forget what I sound like until I get in a taxi in San Antonio, and the guy's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck, that's what I sound like." That dude's a brown dude and sounds like that.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, that's part of your comedy, right?
It really is. I mean, I got to be me. And I got to tell you, I appreciate the Texas flag sitting behind you. It really makes me feel welcome. I just feel at home.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I love. I don't want it to be too in the face, but but it supports me. It used to be my only decoration, and then people were like, "Dude, you gotta like add some other shit.
You gotta add a bottle of tequila."
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna go right there for the rest of the time. It'll be part of the.
Right now, sitting there, I see the bottle. I see the flag.
Well, that's true too.
When I first started doing stand up, one of the first things that when I made a little bit of money, not much, but when I just made a little bit, and I was starting to travel. I came out of Arlington, comedy-wise. Fort Worth is where I grew up, but I bought myself a Texas nugget ring, little pinky ring, and I put a diamond right in Dallas Fort Worth. And I used to have an old joke. People come up to go, "Hey man, where are you from?" I'd be like, "Read your forehead, asshole." That's just a state. We're such assholes, you know.
Oh, we really right.
But I mean. Okay.
We kind of deserve to be. This is a great place, man.
Texans.
I always tell people, well, like let's say when I lived in Europe, for instance, I would say, I'm not American. Look, I am American, but I'm a Texan first, straight up. You know, that's just the way I see it.
It's definitely a state of the heart. I love it. I love being there. I live in the state of Kentucky now, and people go, "Man, don't you miss Texas?" I say, I do. Texas is in my heart. But the land here in Kentucky is just so beautiful. I compare it. I go, Texas is like my first girlfriend, flat and brown. It's just, I can't say no to the land here. It's so gorgeous.
Oh shit. Oh my God. That's still, fond memories, but I've moved on. What is, I've driven through Kentucky. I've never stayed there. Is it mountainous? Is it?
Oh yeah, sure.
You got hills.
So I mean, there's not mountains, but you have beautiful hills, and it's just the rivers and the trees and I live in Louisville, and I'm 20 minutes from downtown, but you can drive in any direction, and within 11 minutes you're seeing horse country, and it's just pretty. It's just
right on. Yeah, that's awesome. No, that's awesome. Well, that doesn't seem too far out from, Texas, right? I mean, that's the funny thing about Dallas Fort Worth. You can be not very. I mean, well, maybe not now the way it's grown so much the city, but when I was growing up in Tarrant County, you could be in the country in no time at all.
Now in 25 minutes you could be 2 exits away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My mom still lives in Hearst, and I go there quite often, and good
boy, that is changed. Hearst is not even the same. I don't even recognize it.
No,
I don't even recognize that place. That whole
the only
area.
thing I recognize.
I
was to say the only thing I recognize that has not changed is when you're on 183 and you're headed westbound, right? Yeah, westbound towards the mall. If you exit Precinct Line, there at the at the corner, there's still this big motherfucking pothole that they can't seem to fix. It's been there since I was 14. I'm like, holy shit, guys! How many times have you built a new city hall? You've done it, but it's still the same fucking pothole. And every year,
hilarious.
There's a bunch of dudes who go out there and fix it, and then it's still fucking there. I don't know what it is.
Oh my God.
All I want is an In-N-Out burger from that exit.
Yeah. That is so real. I can't even tell you. Yeah, that is so funny. Oh my God. That's cracking me up. Oh man, that's too funny. Yeah, I actually don't. I love Austin. I'm in Austin now, and I love
Austin's great. Yeah.
I love this city, man. Yeah, it's so different from where I grew up there and DFW. But I love Austin a lot, man. I just love the river. I wish we would have had something like that.
You got the river. You can float the Brazos. You can float the Guadalupe. You can what is it? Barton Springs, and that it's called Barton Springs.
Yep.
Oh man, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah, it really is cool here. Look, oh my God, no, this tequila is going to take me off the rails here, dude. I can already tell I'm losing track.
Let's do a toast.
Yeah, let's do. He's like,
hey, why don't you tell
another toast?
Why don't you tell your listeners and your viewers? Well, my one stipulation, I guess you would say, my for you to do the podcast.
Yeah, you were like, okay, you got to go buy some tequila. We're gonna drink.
I said you got to drink with me.
You got to drink with me. Let's have a drink. I loved it, man. Nobody's ever asked me to have a drink with them on the podcast. So
there you go.
Oh man, I'm all about this. In fact, I got to pour a little bit more. But okay, let me ask you about this. Let's talk a little bit about Latin Kings of Comedy, because I don't know if I think of comedy now, and there really isn't this big movement of Latin comedy happening anymore. At least not that I see. Or am I blind to this? Am I?
I think there is. I'm so busy doing my thing. I don't know. There's definitely a movement that, the Latino people are all across the nation. And here's what's beautiful about Latino comedy is you don't have to be Latino to love it. I challenge any family in this nation, not Latino or Latino. If you're not Latino, I challenge you in this day and age to not have a Latino somewhere in your family. And if you are Latino, I challenge you to not have, a black, a white, an Asian, or somebody in your family, because and so we can all kind of relate. I do remember when I was doing stand up, and I started in Arlington, in Dallas, Fort Worth, and in San Antonio, and Houston, Austin, and then I went to Oklahoma City and Missouri, and I kind of went to Missouri and headed right, and Ohio, and that's where I kind of got my chops as a young comic. So when I went to LA, I really thought, because I was doing well, I was moving up in the ranks and people were knowing my name. And there used to be a little paper that went out called Just for Laughs. It was just like the Dallas Observer type magazine or paper, but it was nationwide. And you could look on there, you could see all the comedy club listings, and you could always see who was working. And I was really proud at that time because my name was always in there. It was really always in there. And that's why people didn't even know you. The comics would go, "Oh, I've seen your name, man. You're everywhere." Yeah. So when I went to LA, I was doing well. And I really thought to myself, man, I'm going to get there. I'm going to blow this shit up, is what I thought, and because all the clubs I was working, I didn't really see any Latino comics. Yeah. And I thought, man, I'm going to get there and tear this shit up. And someone said, you need to go to the Laugh Factory on Monday night. That's Latino night. And I was like, well, hell yeah. Go in there. 2 shows on a Monday night, sold out for decades. And I get there, and they put me on the show. And when I get there, they were like, you can go on. You're going to go on last. And I said, okay, not because they wanted me to close the show. They just said, you're last. I said, okay, no problem. And I sat there and I watched 14 to 15 Latin comics, and I was blown away. And this was in 1992, I think, or something. 92, and I'll tell you something, Patrick, I sat there and watched 14 and 15 guys and girls. And I remember thinking in the back of the room, well, this is going to take a little longer than I thought, because I watched Pablo Francisco, I watched Gabriel Iglesias, Gilbert Esquivel, Rudy Moreno, God dang it, Willie Barcena, Jeff Garcia, Freddie Soto, may he rest in peace, Paul Rodriguez, and Paul was the only one I'd heard of, and I'm sitting there watching all of these cats come from different angles, and I was like, oh man, and they all looked similar to me, they resembled me, and I thought, what am I going to do? I was a little nervous, but what I had was this whole other angle, this kind of, like I said, the girl was like, this guy talks funny. I had this southern angle that they were like, who the fuck is this guy? Yeah. And that's where I don't know if that energy, of course that energy still exists in Latino comedy, but I think now I think Gabriel Fluffy really showed the world, hey, you don't have to be Latino to come to my shows. Yeah. And that's what I've always been kind of preaching. But he really made it mainstream, and that's so awesome. Hats off to Gabriel for doing that, because he just made it about being funny and introduced the world hilarious. And he introduced the world to Felipe Esparza, and he introduced the world to Rick Gutierrez, who's out of Texas. And nice. Some great comics, and but that's where Paul saw me on those Latino nights. Probably the 4th time I was there, he came up to me. He goes, "Hey, you're kind of different. Because I like you." you kind of this hillbilly angle, you're doing this thing, and and I was like, all right. And he asked me to open a show for him in Toledo, Ohio, and he paid me. I think he paid my airfare, hotel, and paid me $850 to open a show. And I was like, are you kidding me? I did 15, 20 minutes. And before I knew it, I was opening shows for him on the regular. And then Joey Medina was, and then the Kings of Comedy, Cedric and Bernie and Steve and DL had a great hit with that. And Paul was like, we're going to do a Latin Kings. And I wasn't a Latin King. It was Cheech, Paul, and George. They were the staples. And they just invited a bunch of comics to come out to El Paso. And I think there were 9 or 10 different young comics that performed. And Paul told us straight up, everybody going to get a shot. He goes, but only 2 of you are going to make the cut. And I don't know if my set was one of the ones that were better, but just whatever happened. I mean, because everybody was great and it was a lot of energy, but Joey and I were lucky enough to be the ones that they chose to make the film. And so thank you, Paul Rodriguez. Thank you, Scott Montoya, producer and director of the Latin Kings of Comedy.
That's awesome.
Cheers.
I mean, yeah, cheers, salud. Yeah, that must have felt like, right. That must have just been amazing. Cause I grew up on Paul Rodriguez. Cheech and Chong were really, in the 80s. I was born in 79. So Cheech and Chong really, and honestly, like as far as laughs goes and comedy goes, like Mexican wise was Cantinflas for me, to be frank with you.
Cantinflas,
like that, that's like legit.
Yeah, I grew up on that too.
Yeah, I used to watch the hell out of that. So yeah, Cheech and Chong. When I was in America, it was like, oh, Cheech and Chong. How do they show Mexicans in America? Right? It was like always this different dynamic. And then obviously Paul Rodriguez was probably, I guess for me, the most famous Mexican at that point. And it was like, well,
for sure.
But what was funny is my household wasn't really like that. That's a funny thing when I watch Latin comedy. It's like, my mom is from Mexico City and blah, blah, blah. And she moved here when she was, 21 years old and blah, blah, blah. And, but my house wasn't really that kind of Mexican. I don't know. There's different households of you know what I'm saying? Like
I know
relate,
exactly what you're saying.
But at the same time, I don't relate.
I know exactly what you're saying because dig this. I was born in Mexico. I came to the U.S. when I was 2, raised in Fort Worth. And it is different. The California Mexican is a different vibe going on. And it's a cool vibe. But I remember watching Paul, and I remember I was a big fan of Carlin and Cosby, and Howie Mandel because he was so silly. I just like different things in different comics.
Howie Mandel, yeah,
right. But I remember when I saw Paul Rodriguez, I mean, I laughed my ass off. But what I also related to is he resembled me. I was like, suddenly something in me went, hey, there's someone there, and there's something to be said about, hey, there's someone that looks like me.
That is true.
Maybe I can do this. And so it seemed it came home to me. But I will say when I go out to LA, and guess what? When I perform in California, I sell some tickets, but I guarantee you there's plenty of Latino people. Let's just call them California Mexicans or California Latinos. Maybe they don't, not all of them dig my vibe, Sure. They're like, that guy, he's not a Mexican. But the truth is, I'm full-blooded Mexican.
Totally.
And I speak 100%. Spanish, and I'm betting most of them don't.
Yes. How often do you find that? Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a lot of Mexicans that their parents moved here. They might have even come over like you did, like even my brother did, right, at a young age, and they don't speak any Spanish. I am so surprised by that. I think my mom saw that and was just like, no way, my kids are going to know Spanish, speak Spanish, no matter what. And she made that happen. Plus I have a ton of family. They don't speak English. So how am I going to communicate with it? Right. We had to speak Spanish. It was
the rule in my house to this day, my mother's house is, en la casa se habla español. Claro. En la casa se habla español. Claro. As soon as if you walk out to the front yard, okay, we can speak English. Even on the phone. Hola, mami, ¿cómo estás? And it's Spanish. And I'm glad she did that. I'm a little ashamed that I didn't do that to my kids, but of course I didn't marry a Mexican girl, and they were born in Kentucky, and it was like this secret language. that only my family spoke. But we moved to LA for a while, and my kids at that time started going, oh shit, because they saw a lot of brown kids and kids that looked just like them at school. Because my kids, even though my wife is blonde and blue eyed, my kids are pretty like her, but have my coloring. And so they did pick up a little Spanish then, and they know it now, and not as good, not as fluid as they should. And I'm ashamed of that, but
well, they might pick it up later. That might happen. They'll get better and better, right? Like later on, that can totally happen. It's funny. I don't have that complexion. My mom's actually red hair, freckles. She was like the odd one in her family.
Rubia.
Because the rest of my aunts and uncles, dark skin, dark hair, but my mom, came out red hair, just light skin. Just came out that way. And so I've always gotten that my whole life. Oh, you don't look Mexican. Oh, you don't look Mexican. You're not Mexican. That sort of thing. And I just say, look, if you ever actually go to Mexico, you realize there's all kinds of Mexicans. Just like America, there's all kinds of Americans. And that's the truth in at least
Paul
Mexico
Rodriguez.
City. For sure.
Paul Rodriguez had a great joke. Actually, if I can remember it, he goes, there's all kinds of Latinos. He goes, there's Chinese Latinos, there's Jewish Latinos, there's black Latinos, there's this. He goes, and you know what that is? Proof that we'll fuck anybody. Such a great joke. He goes, we don't care who you are.
Oh shit!
Such a good joke. He's
that
such
is a great joke.
Such a great comedy.
Dude, such great memories of. Again, there really wasn't many Latin comedies, right? So it was like, oh, gotta watch Paul Rodriguez. Yeah, absolutely, man. Just so.
I remember
funny.
when I met Cheech. We were in El Paso shooting the special. And we're at this table, and it was Cheech's 55th birthday that weekend. There's executives from Showtime there. There's Paul. There's George Lopez. There's Cheech. It's a table of like 20 something people, and we're drinking tequila. That the owner of the place said this was an $800 bottle of tequila back in 90, whatever it was, 90, whenever the Latin Kings was, and I remember sitting there, and me and Joey Medina. We literally looked at each other and went, how did we get to this table? How did we get to this fucking table? It was so exciting. But when my mom met Cheech, it was so funny. She came to the show and she went up to Cheech and she said, oh, thank you for giving my son an opportunity. And of course, Cheech didn't put the show together, but he was, he just, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, we like him. He goes, which one's yours? But she goes, I want you to know. And I'm standing right next to her. She said, when he was younger, I did not let him watch you. I told him, no, you don't watch that man. He's a bad man. She goes, and then he go to bed, and I turn it up. And I was like, what the fuck, Mom? It was pretty funny.
That sounds like a Latin thing to do, right? No, you can't do this, but secretly, I'm back over here doing it. That's hilarious. That is
I grew up behind the couch because my dad would tell me to go to bed, and I would be watching what he was watching, which was Benny Hill and Sanford and Son. I'd hear him laughing, and I'd start to laugh, and my dad would like, "Vente cabrón," and he'd let me sit there next to him, and so I was turned on to Red Fox and Benny Hill and all that kind of all that humor when I was a kid,
Were you like performing in front of your family, like at functions and that sort of stuff? Is that how it sort of?
You know what? True Latinos.
Right. That's how you do it. Latino families. Somebody sort of takes over and puts on a show, and everybody probably
that's exactly
a few
what
cousins,
happened.
Right. You got a few funny cousins and.
Exactly. My mom and dad were the spear of the family that came to this country. And so every one of my aunts and uncles that came and migrated to the US, they lived in our house for 6 or 7 months.
Boy, that's
with
just
their
like
kids,
my family too.
Right. And then when they would move out, we would give them all our furniture to their apartment and we'd get new furniture, and then somebody else would come. And so usually every Sunday and sometimes Saturdays, there would be, and I'm not kidding, anywhere from 25 to 45 of my aunts, uncles, cousins, and brothers and sisters at my house, and my mom and dad had a pool. I always say we had a beautiful brick home in a middle-class white neighborhood, which we didn't belong there. Not that we didn't belong, but financially we didn't really belong there. But we didn't have much furniture, and all the kids in the neighborhood played at my house because you can't break what you don't have. And but we would, on Sundays, all my aunts and uncles and cousins would be there, and me and my brothers and sisters and cousins would just basically mimic what we saw on television that week. We did Carol Burnett skits, we did Tony Orlando and Dawn, we did Gilligan's Island, Benny Hill, anything that we just saw, we would do it, and we would perform on the fireplace mantle. You know, and my brother was a drummer, so he had a little drum set and he played the drums, and nice. My sister would sing, and we would just do all kinds of things. And we'd do original sketches, I remember back of these funny voices, total little voices that we would do. And I never really thought too much about that until I started performing. And I was obviously that's what gave me a bug. Sure. Both of my parents were artists. But when they came to this country, they kind of abandoned their dreams and worked their asses off to give us an opportunity. So cheers to my mom and dad.
Hey, cheers to your parents, man. Absolutely. Cheers to that, man. I hear that so much, right? So many people that move here, like my cousin, he was a lawyer in Mexico City. When he moved to the States, I hope I'm not Chucho. Lo siento. Okay, we're about to give a little bit of your story away. He came here legally. And he was here for quite a while illegally. And, he had to work in construction, do all this other stuff. And I remember him saying that, to being like, man, I'm a lawyer. Like, this sucks. Yeah. I have to do all this stuff. But and he's not even a lawyer anymore. He worked into construction. Now he got his own crew. He created a company. I mean, he became very successful. And I was very proud of him, to do everything he did. And that's how a lot of my family came up. Then his brothers and sisters came up, blah, blah, blah. It's just same way as your sort of family. My mom was the spearhead here too. Well, technically my grandfather coming up from Mexico was technically, he sort of eventually brought my mom, way, way, way later. But yeah, exactly. That sort of thing.
Well, that's the story. That's a story of plenty of immigrant families, not just Latinos, Asians.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Whoever they may be, the Irish, the Italian. Right? Yeah. I have an uncle, not an uncle. I have a cousin. He was an engineer. And guess what? He hasn't been an engineer for 25 years.
Yep.
Because his degree just didn't transfer. It is a little bit, but not in the sense that he gave up what he went to school for. Because I guess I wasn't there, but he saw something where he didn't think he could, he wanted a better opportunity. And guess what? Sure. All three of his children, college educated, a lawyer, and
it's awesome.
He kind of gave the path to them.
That's awesome.
It's admirable.
Yeah. I bet my mom's like, we all fucked it. My brother and I, she's just like, we didn't become what she wanted. I'm sure that's what my mom said. Like, come on, like, Jesus,
well,
we gave you everything.
Here's the deal, though. I don't think you have to have a degree to be successful. I mean, I look at my parents. My parents, I always say my dad came to this country with 5 children, $4 in his pocket, and a language barrier. And he made it work. Wow. And I'm proud to say that all 5 of his children are entrepreneurs. We all work for ourselves. We all have been successful in one way or another, and we're all happy, and that's admirable. Yeah.
That's the key, is happiness. Yeah. Yeah, man. Absolutely. My brother's very successful, to be honest with you, in his career. He's been with the same company for like 15 years, he's done very well. I'm more the black sheep. I've, love to travel, love to go around, love to do.
Well, look at you. You're spreading the word. You got your podcast. You're talking. Yeah, you're speaking your mind. That's
Yeah.
Many people not doing that.
Look, I've always done what I love. I've never, I mean, obviously we've had, I've had jobs here and there you just have to do to pay bills here and there. But for the most part, I can't function doing something I don't love to do. It doesn't sit well with me, to be honest with you. So, yeah.
And, that's what I see from my son and my daughter now. And I try to guide them. And sometimes when I see them straying from what I think is straying, and I should let them be a little more. And I don't notice it when I'm saying it to them, but when I'm speaking to other people. But but when I do feel that they're, not living to their potential, or not even seeing, or ignoring it, not even living up to it, but just ignoring it, I let them know. I go, look, I could tell them about my hardships, but I really kind of go to my dad's. I go, your grandfather sacrificed everything. Come on, and it sticks to them. They hear it and they feel it.
Good.
Because I get emotional. I get a little teary eyed when I talk about my dad. Which, by the way, this is kind of cool. On the neck of every bottle of Number Juan Tequila, that's my father's face.
Really?
That's my dad.
I thought maybe that was, who made the tequila. That's awesome.
No,
man.
that's my dad. That's my dad.
That's awesome, man. Wow.
He was always like, and I could say this to you because he was like, everything I ever did in my lifetime, Alex, en Mexico, ahí es tu futuro. Your future is in Mexico. And even though I've made my path and I'm just continue to head down it, he was right. Tequila, look at this.
Yeah.
It was right there.
That is true.
National product.
That is cool to go back, to where you're from, help bring a business back to the States and create opportunity. That's amazing, man.
Share something beautiful from Mexico with the US. Well, 2 countries I love immensely.
Love that, man. Yeah, that's awesome, man. No, that is beautiful. Look, there's something I want to talk to you about. You're a comedian. Look, this is something this is just something a lot of my friends and I talk about, which is getting offended in comedy, right? And I guess the thing is, why do people get offended, right? I heard Ricky Gervais say something like, well, you'll really only get offended if it's something dear to you, because you might hear me make a joke about, I don't know, a heart attack and you laugh, but then I make a joke about cancer and you're like, oh, my mom had cancer. Don't joke about that. So it's like, well, where do you, as a comedian, how do you even deal with that in cancel culture and this? And I don't know. I'm curious, your thoughts on that.
Well, before we get to the cancel culture and the political,
I gotta get through that in there, didn't I? I just like,
no, it's okay. But before we go there, I think we have to start with the ground rules of stand up. All's fair in love, war, and comedy. So if you're going to get offended, fuck you.
Thank you.
Sácate. We're all here to laugh. We're all here to laugh at ourselves, each other. And guess what? Every stereotype that may be offensive sometimes to the world now is based on some reality. And it's okay to point that out. I think a long time ago, before we lived where we're living now, I remember saying, this generation that we were teaching, you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't recognize that. You shouldn't. This generation that we taught not to recognize each other because we wanted them to get along. Yeah, turned out to be violent as hell.
That's interesting.
It's. I don't think there's anything wrong. I mean, sure, if I've been called some names before that was unwarranted and based in hate. Yeah. And based in hate. But when you're at a club, it's based in humor and we should be able to laugh. And if you can't, it's okay. The next joke's for you, or the previous one was. I don't think I've never regulated myself in that sense. I've always tried to speak my mind and make it palatable for people. And sometimes I'll recognize, oh, this room looks a little older, a little more conservative. I'm still going to get the same point across, but I'm going to choose different words. I might bring the tone down a little bit. I might do whatever I do to adjust, shift those gears. But I don't believe in you shouldn't say that. Yeah. Because maybe somebody needs to say that. And as I grew up a little bit, I started doing stand up at 23. So I was playing a lot of clubs and colleges. And I think about the time that I turned 29 or 30, I started noticing the colleges, you'd say things that, ooh, oh, yeah. And then I didn't have an appetite to play colleges because I was like, man, these kids, and I get it. That's the way they were raised. But I also realized they didn't have much life experience except something that was told to them. Sure. And I'm not trying to discount their lives, but I
get what you're saying though.
Yeah, I just didn't. But I got to say something. Right before COVID hit, my last gig was a college in University of New Mexico. And I'll be honest with you, when they called me and they asked me to do it, I didn't want to do it. I'm 55 years old now. I was like, I ain't got nothing to say to 22-year-old kids who don't have children and they're politically correct. I got nothing to say, but the money was so damn good that I went, you know what?
Like, I can find something to say, right?
And I kind of challenge myself, and I'll be honest with you, I've never made anything about the money. It's never been about the money for me. But it was so damn good that I went, well, how do I say no to that? And I got to tell you, I was telling my wife before I went, I said, I don't want to go. I don't even know what. And the truth is, I was scared. Now I was scared of getting up there and sucking and them going, this guy, how is he a Latin king of comedy? And I got to tell you something. Those kids were great. They didn't.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah. And I eased into it. I kind of a couple of times teased them about political correctness, and they almost looked at me like, bring it, dude, bring it.
Yeah.
And I'm not raunchy or raw or anything like that, but sure. I was pleasantly surprised with them. As far as cancel culture and things like that, you know, I think the whole world, all of us, me included, needs a spanking. I think everybody needs a little spanking, a little, hey, cut that out.
Yeah.
Quit being an asshole.
Totally
Quit judging people, which is funny because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the cancel culture will say you're out because you're being judgmental to somebody, but yet they're judging the fuck out of people.
100%.
It's like
to the extreme.
Yeah. I don't get it. And again, maybe I'm not going to have a lot of fans that are 17 to 26 years old, but that's okay with me. I'm speaking to people that are my age, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger than me, with kids and life experience, and they can take a joke and can relate to what I'm trying to lay down, because all I'm really trying to lay down is my thoughts of whatever is going on.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out life myself.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think we all are, right? You know, I think I guess what I worried about, like for a comedian, would be like, oh shit, because cancel culture seems to be. I guess I should state this for everybody. Look, I understand the movement of how it got started, and
absolutely.
I agree with a lot of that stuff. And I respect it, exactly. But like anything, it gets taken to an extreme, and there are instances where maybe there is some some validity to something. But my thing was, well, okay, I see a lot of, they'll go back in comedians' Twitter feed or this feed or that, for MySpace feed or so their AOL news feed, and find something from 20 years ago, a joke they made that in that time period was okay.
Ridiculous.
Now it's not, and now we're going to judge them on it, when back then everybody was laughing at it. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's out of bounds. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is scary, but I'm not going to concern myself too much with it. You know, if it slaps me in the face one time, well, I'll deal with it when it comes. But like I said earlier, I don't think there's any room for anything based in hate.
Yeah.
And I would wager to say, no matter the statement that comes out of a comic's mouth, it was not intended or based in hate. It may have a base of a stereotype, but like I said, stereotypes are there because, well, I did this thing on a special called Legally Brown, aired on Showtime, and
I saw that. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, it was a fun special to do because it was all these brown comics, Indian, Latinos, Persians, whoever you were. If you had brown skin, you could be on this show. And one of the things I said, you know, what's great about America is it welcomes everybody. America is like a big club. Come on in. We got some rules. If you're Latino, come on in. You got to get some car insurance.
You gotta,
because let's be honest, Americans don't like their cars fucked up. And then it said, hey, if you're Irish, come on in. Last call's at 2. Watch your buzz. No one likes their space invaded. And if you're for the Middle East, come on in. You got to put some deodorant on. And it's like, because no one wants their space invaded. The same thing. Don't mess up my car, my buzz, or my aroma. It's and there's nothing wrong with saying that. I get it that hey, guess what? A lot of Latinos don't think it's important to have car insurance. You should. That's just the way that's the way it is in Mexico. Have you ever seen cars in Mexico? They're all beat up.
Oh, dog. Have you ever, right? Driving in Mexico. Holy shit. Driving in Mexico City is like fucking Mario Kart. I mean, it's a fucking
like
nightmare.
a game of Frogger, literally.
It really, literally is.
But I think, and some people may get offended at what I just said. They may say, oh, you said this about Latinos. You said this about the Irish. You said this about Middle Easterners. Well, the truth is, a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Latinos, forgive me, don't have car insurance. A lot of Irish tend to tip the cup a little. a lot of Middle Easterners don't smell so good sometimes, but that's okay. Welcome to America. Here's the ground rules, and if you can adjust to that, you're welcome. Come on in, buddy. Come on in.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on it.
I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for that. No, I can feel it coming.
Please,
I'm scared.
I get hate mail. Look, I've been called racist on this podcast before. How's that even possible? Okay, that's from an episode I didn't even release because of it. Honestly, it was like, okay, this is too controversial. I'm going to get called too many names. I don't know if I'd worry about that. I mean, maybe you should. I don't know. I'm not the guy to. It just didn't fit the. Nevina, for instance, that scheduled this for us, right? She made a good point to me in our we do these weekly business meetings for the podcast. And she made a good point. She said, look, it really has nothing to do with the podcast. It's just more our catalog of names that we've had. And all of a sudden to just put this guy in there just feels odd. So, that's really ended up being the reason of why we, didn't use it. But yeah, anyway, here's something else I was curious about. I saw that you did a special, it was Payaso. I don't know the rest of it. Payaso, Comedy Slam. Comedy Slam. That's it. Payaso Comedy Slam. I saw that Joey Diaz was on there. Yeah. So you worked with Joey Diaz, right? That's crazy. Joey Diaz. Yes. And Joey Diaz was actually my roommate for about 3 weeks. Really? I had an apartment in Hollywood, and really Joey Medina was my roommate. But before I knew it, there were probably 7 comics. It was just a 1-bedroom apartment, but there were 7 comics that were sharing that apartment just to kind of come into Hollywood, and you'd leave and do your thing. And again, that first time that I was at the Laugh Factory, I don't think I saw Joey there that night, Joey Diaz, but it wasn't long after that I met him and got to be friends with him through a great comic, may she rest in peace, Marilyn Martinez. And Joey's a treat to watch. Always been fun to be around. But yeah, when we did the Payaso Comedy Slam, it was I don't want to say it was before Joey was Joey, but the world didn't know him like they do now. I mean, he's a superstar now in stand-up, and a great podcast. And I kind of take pride in knowing that I don't even know if it was his first time to be on television on something that big, but he was there. George Perez was there, and I remember I just saw George 3 nights before we shot the special at a little club somewhere in LA. That's just a bar that did stand up, and I just thought he was really good and different. And I said, "Hey, you want to be on a special?" And he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And he made the show. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, Joey Diaz is a treat. I mean, he is such a treat, man. Comic. Yeah. My thing was the first time I saw him, I think probably for a lot of people, well, maybe not, I don't know, was just as a podcast guest on the Joe Rogan show. I had never heard of him. I didn't know who he was. And I just saw him as this guest, and I just thought, oh my God, this guy is hilarious. And then he's hilarious. He's a character. He's a character telling stories, man. I mean, for sure. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, I think in the beginning, and I don't know if I'm correct about this, but in the beginning, when people didn't know Joey's name, he was actually working really hard in the sense that he was doing a lot of acting. I remember one of the first things that I knew of Joey, he got a part, I think in Spider-Man 2. He was one of the guys. That's right. He stands up in the subway or whatever, or the train, or you got to go through all of us. And so he was kind of forging his way through that. And luckily he was hanging out at the right place, I believe, which was the Comedy Store, which is really the mecca of comedy in LA. But
but he was there, and obviously he caught the attention of everyone there, and Joe Rogan. I mean, good Lord, he's he's the king of stand-up, right?
I don't know. That's interesting. I don't know. Do you think he's the king of stand-up for you?
Well, I don't know if he's the king of stand-up, but I just know he's well respected amongst all stand-up comics. He's well respected amongst podcasters. I mean, he's got the number one podcast in the world.
100%. Yeah.
If not number two. I mean, I don't know. I don't keep up with all that stuff. And he's obviously well respected in the MMA world. He can make you laugh or he can kick your ass.
Yeah.
So mad respect to Joe Rogan. And obviously he saw something in Joey Diaz and said, hey, let's get this guy on the air. And I don't know if that's what made Joey Diaz, but it's one of the things that made Joey Diaz, I believe.
I think so. The podcast definitely helped for sure. Just sort of catapulted him. But he, like you said, he'd already built some stuff up. And yeah, I hate seeing him in movies too. The longest yard was the one I remember the most.
Right. Kind of like Joe Coy. I mean, how many episodes of Chelsea Handler did he do? Yeah. And that's when the world really started seeing Joe Coy, and he's a great comic.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, he's awesome, man. I don't know how much time you have, Alex. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. So you tell me it's 8:06. You tell me.
I'm good.
Or 9:06. Okay. You tell me, whatever's going on. I was going to ask you about this. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but this is obviously at least in my world of comedy, or what I think is big, the Carlos Mencia thing. So I don't know if that's something you want to discuss. Not even necessarily him, but more just the act of stealing jokes and that sort of thing. Is that really a big problem in the industry? Is that something you have to worry about? Did you stand on one side or the other of that situation when it went down?
I didn't stand on one side or the other of that personally, because I hadn't worked that many times with Carlos. I was familiar with the reputation that he was acquiring. I'm not a fan of that, but throughout my career, people would ask me about that, or ask about, hey, what do you think of what this guy's doing or that girl's doing? And I was always like, you know what? I'm so busy doing what I'm doing. I don't have time to think about anybody else. I don't care. But I do care about someone that's a known a thief of material, because it's not easy to do what we do. It's not easy to find your voice. And I would think very, 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 very few comics could say they never, I don't want to say they lifted a line from somebody, but they didn't lift a mannerism, something from somebody that they tried to emulate, a speech pattern, a rhythm, something. You respect people and you try to emulate them, but to see, may he rest in peace, Robin Williams had a really bad reputation for the same thing. And what an amazing performer. But people, it was said that in the day, and I wasn't there then, but that a lot of people wouldn't perform if he would walk in a room, because they know that he would do it tomorrow or next better, and he would add his flavor to it. But I'm not a fan of people that do that. I parallel thinking is one thing. I mean, if you talk about, let's say we're talking about tequila. Well, you could get 10 comics to write some jokes about it, and some are going to be similar. That happens. I don't even know Joe Rogan. I've met him. I've seen him a couple times in Hollywood at the clubs, and I think I may have met him once, but I don't know him. But I remember when all that was going on, I thought two things. I thought, wow, it's a pretty serious stance he's taking against this guy. But I also kind of respected it, because I grew up in Texas, and I remember one time, and I'll tell you this, I've probably lifted a joke before, as a young comic. You see something and you think, oh, and maybe you don't even think I'm going to do that, but you might be writing something else and, oh man, that's great. And maybe later you go, oh, wait a minute, where did that come from? Did I see that somewhere? I mean, that happens too. And hopefully if that happens and you recognize it, you go, you know what? I remember why I thought of that.
You pull it out, maybe.
Let me retract that. Let me retract that and get my own thoughts, which is why it's so important for comics to speak of their own life. I always tell young comics now, and I don't know, I don't have advice for anybody, but if you want some advice from me on stand-up, it's be original, which means speak of your own life, because no one can take that from you. If I go talk about an airplane ride, plenty of comics have done stories about airplane rides, but I'm going to speak of my own life. I'm going to record every show so I can watch it later and study, just like Peyton Manning. And the third rule that I tell everybody is don't suck. I mean, and that's it. If you can follow those three things, you're going to probably be okay. But I
don't suck.
I grew up in Texas. And I remember one time this comic came up to me and said, "Hey man, I think you stole that joke from me or whatever." And I was like, "Well, dude, I don't even know who you are." This is early in the day. And they were like, "Yeah, well, I've been doing this thing and you did something similar." I don't remember what it was, but I went, "Well," I said, I didn't steal it from you. I've never met you. I haven't seen you on TV and I didn't steal it. It's just a thought I had, and sorry, it was kind of similar." And he was like, "No, I think you stole it." And blah, blah, blah. And I went, "Okay, well, I heard you the first time." And I said, "I'm going to tell you again, I didn't do it. So I'm sorry. And it's probably just a similar thought, because it's not exactly what you were saying that you say." And he goes, "No, I think," and I went, "Okay, let me tell you this. I said no, but you also need to know that I'm from Texas, and I'll hit you in the fucking mouth if you call me a thief again." which is not a good way to handle your issues. And hey, you went away for a second. Yeah.
No, hang on. I hit my table so hard that it like temporarily disconnected my camera. That's funny.
But I remember saying that, and the guy was like, "Oh, well, you don't have to be an asshole." And I was like, "Well, I told you twice, no." And so as far as Carlos goes, I think he even admitted at one time, said, "Yeah, that's what I do." So I think he paid the price. It's like going to jail. He lost a lot of fans, but at the same time, his true fans stayed with him, because the truth is Carlos is an amazing entertainer. And he has a lot of amazing thoughts. Did he take some? He admitted, yes, he did. And I think he's serving his own penance. I will tell you one stab I took at Carlos during that time. And Carlos, if you see this, this is, hey, all's fair in love, comedy, and war.
Sure.
I got to do the Alma Awards. I won an Alma Award for Hispanic,
saw that.
which it's a great honor, right? It's a great honor.
Awesome.
But when I was nominated for that, they said, "Hey, you get to perform at the Alma Awards on ABC." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is network television now, prime time." And I looked at the lineup of who was performing. Prince was on that show.
Oh my!
Literally, Prince performed on that show. And
my gosh.
And I looked at the lineup of people performing, and I was like, I was the only name on the lineup that was not a known name in America. Yeah. I mean, it was just, and all Latinos except for Prince, but he's kind of Latino, right? I think.
Yeah.
we'll fuck anybody. We'll fuck anybody. So, but and then for the walkthrough rehearsal, it's in a beautiful theater, and they had kind of like they do now in the NFL. They got the people in the seats, the cutouts. They had names in the first 8 rows, and I looked at those names in the first 8 rows, and it was a who's who of Hollywood. And I was like, "Oh man, this is." I started really freaking out. I had to do 8 minutes, but anyway, I'm sitting there. I was literally thinking, this is not the time to suck. Don't suck tonight, Alex, whatever you do. And when I get up there and they introduce me, I come out and I do my first line, and it gets a big laugh, and I'm thinking it made me comfortable, right? It made me comfortable. And I was like, "Oh yeah." And I look over here, and I feel like I'm doing real well. And I look over here and I see Cheech, and I'd already done the Latin Kings, and Cheech looks at me and goes, he gives me a thumbs up, and I'm like, "Yeah." I look over to my left, and George Lopez goes like this, gives me one of those, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah." I look over here, and Carlos Mencia's writing shit down, so I know I'm killing. Sorry, Carlos, I had to do it. I had to take it.
Dude, that's fucking hilarious. Oh my God.
So,
I knew I was doing right.
Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't steal, kids. And if you do, you're gonna be in a timeout for a little while.
Yeah, I never understood it because from a fan standpoint, and I wish Carlos could understand this. All he really could have said is, yeah, I made a mistake. I did this. I fucked up. And you know what? I'm going to keep hiring people and let them write jokes. But now everybody know, and let's just go. Instead, he like quadrupled down. He kept saying, I didn't do it. I did. It just made it. I don't know. People from the outside, like myself, just a regular person, you're just like, dude, please. You can see it a mile away here. Like you're looking ridiculous now, like, I don't know. That's how I felt.
I mean, think of any, and again, this is not even about Carlos. This is about anybody that gets caught doing something. A child, catch a 5-year-old. They're gonna. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. That's just human nature. And he probably at the time thought, oh, it's caught up with him. But he paid a price, and
he was massive at the time. I thought he was, like you said, he's a great entertainer. He's he knows how to put on a show. So, as a fan, like, I don't have any problem if a comedian was like, well, I didn't write all these jokes. I hire people and they write them for me. I don't care. I just want to laugh at the joke.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason comics and artists take such offense to someone that does something like that, because the truth is the fans, they don't know. They don't know. They were there for the moment, and they just know that you were hilarious or you entertained them. I mean, I've been in shows before when you're standing by the door and people are walking out and they come up to me and say, man, that joke you did about that was awesome. And I'm like, that was the other guy, or it's happened to the other. And the truth is, people just don't remember. And it's people get upset because we work hard at what we do. And if you see someone cutting, well, go stand in line somewhere. And if someone cuts in line, you get a little upset.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a manner of cutting in line. And last time I checked, cutting in line is cause for removal from park, is what they say at Six Flags, right?
Yeah, that's Six Flags.
Line jumping is cause for removal from park.
Fuck no, dude! You line jump in Texas, motherfucker, you are gonna get an ass beating from 10 different people in the line. I mean, this is not gonna happen. That's kind of crazy. I remember I did open mic twice before at Capitol
Cap City.
Yeah, here in
Cap
Austin,
City Comedy Club, in Austin,
which actually closed down recently, which I'm really sad about. But I went and did it, and what I noticed was, okay, I'm going to write this material, and I was so into it. I remember the first time I was the last person to go up, so they put me last, so I had to sit there the whole time, nervous as fucking hell the whole time. Yeah. But what I will say is, it did feel really great to have something that I created, that I worked on, performed it, got feedback from, right? Even got a few laughs. I think I can't even remember it it was such a weird, like it happened. It was done. I was like, I don't even remember what just happened. Like what? It was such a crazy moment to be real with you. I was just in the moment, which is why
I tell young comics or any comic, record yourself, because there's no way you're going to remember everything.
I forgot. Yeah, everybody puts their phone up on the thing, and I was so nervous. They called my name. I jumped through the curtain, and dude, the lights were on me. I forgot everything. I forgot to put my phone down and hit record. Yeah. And I just grabbed the mic and went for
ejaculation.
Yes, it was. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. That is so funny, man. Well, I saw a few people bomb before me, really bomb, and I just thought, oh my God, Patrick, please. I hope one fucking thing gets a fucking laugh from this. And when I finished, and I was walking. I was so nervous afterward. I had to go to the bathroom. So I finished my set, immediately was walking to the bathroom. This one guy walked past me, man. And he goes, dude, that was some funny shit. And I remember just thinking, it was the biggest feeling.
Thank you.
I felt awesome, man. I felt on this high of, I thought, man, this is what comics feel. I get it. And then of course I'm not a comic. I did it one, twice is just for fun. But yeah, it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of nerves. I get you only perform for X amount of time, but people have to understand there's so much work that goes into
it's a beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of work, and it's a beautiful feeling, and it could be an ugly feeling. I remember early days, open mics, when you finish and you have a good set, you want to stand by the door. Everybody walks by and, hey man, you're awesome. Because we need
Yeah.
that acceptance and that
That's funny.
that pat on the back and some pussy, because girls will be
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you're so funny. That was a definite perk. Um, but hey, everyone's had them. I've had them, and I promise you, I'm well into my career, well into 30 years of doing stand up, and I'm going to have a show where it doesn't go so well. It still happens sometimes, very, very rarely, but just when you think it won't happen, it'll happen. That's why I was so afraid to go to the University of New Mexico that time. But I remember the days in open mic when it would go so horribly bad that I would walk off the stage, because I worked at that comedy club, and I would go hide in the closet where the water heater was until everyone was gone, because I didn't want to see people. I'd been there before when people walk by and they go, hey man, there's that guy. You're like, oh shit. And that's just a part of it. You know what? My son is an artist. He's a musician. So is my daughter. And I was just talking to him because he's talking about, hey, I want to release some stuff, but I don't know if I want to release this because I don't know. He was talking about, he didn't even know, but he was talking about being afraid of being rejected. I said, son, you're in show business.
Go for it.
It's full of rejection, and you've got to learn not to let it eat you. You got to keep going. You don't let them judge you. They may judge you that night and that moment, but that doesn't make you, and so you gotta get some thick skin.
Yeah, that's great advice. I've always thought, I played music. I've worked in restaurants as a chef. I do all these things. Look, my thing is this. I'm going to put something out there, and if you don't like it, no problem. You can move on from it. But my thing, if somebody were to ever judge me, I just say, well, what the fuck are you doing? That's my thought to anything. So if anybody ever is worried about, I don't know if I want to put this out, just like you said, that's what I tell somebody. I say, look at them and go, what the fuck? What is so special about you? So just put it out there. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. We're all trying to do our thing. In fact, I have respect for people that take that takes courage, man. It takes some bravery. So I have respect for people that put it out there.
It ain't
even if
easy.
You fail. It's not easy.
It ain't easy. And you know what? Failing,
it's part
of
the
best teams, sports teams that I was on was the ones that couldn't win. You learn more from losing. And he said something funny that made me think of something I said one night at a show, and we were kind of talking about, the youth. And I said, here's how old I am. Anybody that says something to me that's younger than 25, I'm like, really? Well, fuck you. How about that? that's my retort to them. That's my debate. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not very, but
hey, I get
but that's
it.
the way. If someone's not digging what you're doing, you can't take it to heart. So all young stand-ups, I'll tell you that, and older stand-ups, just keep on keeping on.
How do you feel the pandemic has hit? There's comedy clubs, right? Musicians are I have a lot of musicians on the podcast, man, and it's been. It comes up every conversation.
I haven't done a show technically since March 5th. I did.
Is that the longest you've gone? Is that the longest you've gone? Really?
Ever. Yeah.
Since you started?
Wow. I'm used to doing 38 to 42 weekends a year, either 2 to 6 shows a week.
Holy
and
shit.
And I stepped out in August to do a show in Florida, and then I did a private party in Los Angeles, which was healthy for me because it helped me remember that, hey, I know what I'm doing, and it was fun, and they gave me money. I forgot about that part. But actually I have a show, to all your listeners. I have a show coming up November 28th here at the local Louisville Comedy Club. And what we're going to do is we're going to live stream it. We're going to live stream the show, and
nice.
I'll send you information on
if
you would spread the word, because
100%.
we're going to put a small gate. We're going to put a small gate on there. And, because people have asked me, hey, why don't you do some live stream stand up? But with no audience, you just can't do it. You got to have it. And the club, I think, seats 250, but they're only allowed to put, I think, 90 people in there, which is plenty to have a show. And so I'm going to do that on November 28th. But it's been rough on the entertainment industry. I mean, it's not even rough. We didn't get a flat. We got 4 flat tires. And which is one of the reasons that Ron and I, we got the wheels stolen, you know. It's one of the reasons that Ron and I put on this. I don't know if you're aware, but we have the Number Juan Tequila Quarantine Concert Series, and that is every Thursday through Saturday. We do exactly this. We do a Zoom chat. Me and Ron welcome everybody, and it's not comedy. It's music, and we turn on people to amazing musical artists from across the country. We've had people that you don't know their names. We've had Jason Sheff from Chicago, Dean Castronova from Journey. Jay DeMarcus from Rascal Flatts. We've had some major Tommy Shaw from Styx, Randy Houser, country music star. We've had some huge names, but we do that 3 times a week on our Facebook page, Number Juan Tequila Facebook page. It's facebook.com/drink Number Juan, every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And since April 10th, here, I got the notes in front of me. This is tonight's show. We are in week 31, show 115, and we are 200 million plus streams since April 10th.
Holy shit.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Our average show does 600,000 to 1.6 million streams a night. And that's just a testament to Ron's fans, my fans, music fans, and our tequila now. You know, it's all brought to you by Number Juan. The shows are free. We highly encourage you to tip these artists when you see them, because they're broke, just like we are. You know, they're broke, and so the pandemic. But what do you do? You can't. You don't go out there and just mass mingle, because that's just going to make things worse. I had COVID in September. Me and my whole family got it, and I'll tell you what. I'm fairly young. I'm not young, but I'm not old. 55, and I consider myself pretty healthy. But it kicked the shit out of me. You know, my wife had it. My 2 kids had it, and I'm not lying. I was laying in bed or the couch, wherever I was, sweating like and really thinking, 4 of us have it. All 4 of us have it. Chances are one of us could die. Odds are it's me. And what do you do? You know,
you're like, odds are it's me. I'm fucked.
I'm the ethnic in the group.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's older. I'm the male. It's bad. It's worse on males. It's worse on ethnic males. It's,
that's
I was like, well, and I'll be honest, I wasn't thinking that in a selfish way. I hope so-and-so, I want it to be me, but I was also thinking, they're fucked without me, you know?
Of course.
The other day we walked in to have dinner. Somewhere, and I was like, "Why don't y'all go in? I'll meet you there." And so, you know what I was doing? I was catching a buzz in the parking lot. And I walk in, and the lady goes, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for my wife and 2 kids." And she goes, and I pointed them out. She goes, "Them?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Because if I don't show up, they ain't paying for dinner." You know.
Yeah, they'll be starving, right? Yeah, that's, oh my god, that's hilarious.
And that's funny. We have a rule at Casa de Reymundo. I get to say whatever I want about my wife and kids in public, and they get to continue to eat. That's the rules.
That's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal. Yeah, that's a pretty good. Eating is, that's important. Yeah, that's got to be an interesting dynamic, right, for a comedian, of whether or not to include your wife, your life, and you keep the stories real. Yeah,
keep them real.
Are all those real? Are all those stories real? The comedians, say probably not, right?
All of my stories are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, according to me.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. Well, it's you got to change maybe a few things or exaggerate.
Well, it's
dramatize.
It's writer's embellishment,
Of course.
But it's before I was married, my mom took a beating in my show, and now my wife and kids do. But the truth is, if people know my stand-up, I think my audience, I would say, is 70% female. They come out, but they drag their husbands, and not even drag them, because the truth is, if you really watch my stand-up, I really speak from a male's perspective, but I always speak highly and proudly of my wife. I tease her and I say all kinds of things and I put her in all kinds of weird positions, just like at night. But the truth is I love her immensely, and I speak highly of her. And girls come up to me all the time. They go, I love you because you love your wife and you do this. And I'm just telling them what I'm feeling. And I talk about my kids as honestly as I can, you know, and I think when the dudes get there, they're like, well, fuck, this guy, I'm really rooting for every guy to get a blowjob that night on the way home. You know, I want people to get laid after my show. And so the guys are like, well, this guy's on my side. And so I think that's the angle I take, because no matter what my thoughts are, it seems to eventually lead to my crotch. And my wife is always like, what? Well, how come? I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know. That's I don't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. I did it again.
You hit your table again.
I got to fix that. I don't know. Oh, I've never hit my table. That's hilarious.
Here's what I have learned in 25 years of being married. I've been married 25 years this year. And I don't know why it took me so long.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why it took me so long to realize it, because my wife's been saying it for decades. What I've learned to do sometimes is shut the fuck up. I've just learned to shut the fuck up, because my wife is a brilliant woman. She's so brilliant. And sometimes I just got to stop and go, baby, you're right. You're absolutely right. The other day she said something. I said, baby, that is amazing. You're an amazing woman. You're brilliant. I said, you know what, baby? I owe you a blowjob. And she laughed at me. She goes, honey, you don't give me blowjobs. I give you blowjobs. And I go, okay, we'll work it that way. So see, I learned to shut up and see how things worked out for me.
Oh my God. Guys, are you listening? This is how you get it done here. That's it.
You got to confuse them. You shake them up a little bit.
Confuse them. You got like a laser pointer and like a little clicker. You're just like, whatever you can do.
A little pinwheel. Hey. Little clowns going by da 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 da. I told sometimes, obviously people that are married have issues with their matrimony sometimes, and they argue. People are going to argue. I'm lucky that me and my wife don't do it that often, but sometimes if she's mad at me, I'll go, you know what? I go, you keep that up, and I ain't never letting you suck my dick again. And she laughs so hard that she just forgets about it, and she ends up sucking my dick, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. You just got to confuse them, make them laugh, and everything's going to be okay.
Oh my God.
When in doubt, just whip it out. That's what I say.
Yeah.
When in doubt, whip it out.
Oh my God. Vane, ¿estás escuchando? Okay. Yeah. Vanessa's going to hear this. Oh, there's my dog.
I'm trying to help you.
Hey, look, this is Rocket. Rocket's from Spain, actually. We brought Rocket from Spain.
Cuete. ¿Qué pasa, Cuete?
¿Qué pasó, mi niño? ¿Qué pasó?
What a good dog.
Yeah, he's such a good dog, man. Yeah, my neighbor's always freaking out when I'm speaking Spanish to the dogs. Look, everybody freaks out about it because they think all dogs understand English and only English.
Oh, dude,
so you
got to check out you got to check out my second special, Red Mexican. The last story I tell about, and the thing is about my dog Lucky, and that's where we end up.
Oh, really?
I'll tell you one thing.
I listened to parts of it, but I guess I didn't hear that part.
You got to watch that. And by the way, that's a totally true story. But I tell you this, the pandemic has, I think it's confused my neighbors because I live in a nice home. I have a nice home. We have some acreage, and because I'm Mexicano, I do all my own work. I cut my grass. I build the fences.
Nice.
I fucking do it. Nice. But for, 15 years that we've been here, I'm gone 38 weekends a month, a year. I'm gone for 3 days. I'm home for 4. I'm gone for, either or. Yeah. But during this, I've been married 25 years. I've never been around my wife for 10 months ever. And I think it's confusing my neighbors because they're seeing me all the time and they're like, I think that little pretty blonde girl's fucking the yard guy because he's there all the time now. The guy that cuts your grass, He's like,
he ain't left.
That shit.
Yeah, he cut the grass and didn't leave. He just. That's hilarious. That is so funny. I think, man, that is, a lot of people are having that sort of situation where they're, with their, partner, their girlfriend, whatever, right? They're just for so much. It's just so much time. Have y'all been getting along pretty well, I guess?
We have.
We
have. I'll tell you what. It's. I think it's going well. Here's what I started doing right away when I realized I was going to be home. You know what I started doing? I started packing. I just started packing, and my neighbor was like, "You're packing? What are you carrying, a sidearm?" I said, "No, I'm packing a suitcase, so they think I'm going to leave pretty soon, so the tension goes out of the air, And
it's funny.
And I got to tell you, I love my wife and I love my kids, but like I said, I've never been around them for 10 months straight, and here's what I've realized is they like me even less. They're ready for me to fucking go. They're like, we like it when you just pay the bills. They're ready for me to go. And this is what's amazing to me.
You made that deal with them, right? They were like, hey,
yeah, I did make that deal. Yeah,
we eat. We're, you go out and do that. Yeah, that's funny.
I'll tell you this: the 3 people that are most anticipating my first show will not be in attendance. They can't wait for me to get the fuck out of here. They're like, get the fuck out. Tired of listening.
They're selling tickets for you online. Yeah,
they're like, somebody give this motherfucker the light. Get him out of here.
Your son's ordered an Uber. Just the doors open. Just like, Dad, I got you ready to go. It's all set up.
Your limo's here.
Yeah,
your limo's here. Get the fuck out. We took your name off the marquee.
Oh my God. Oh, that is just too funny, Alex. Oh man. I'm glad it's going well with your family, man. I've definitely heard some horror stories.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And obviously domestic violence has kind of got up in the country, and that's I don't even know what to say to that other than get out of that situation, whoever you are.
Yeah, 100%. Drink some tequila, loosen up. Well, maybe not drink tequila in that situation.
Yeah. Maybe it's the one time it's not good advice.
Yeah, that's maybe. Oh man, that's funny. Well, look, Alex, I know you got to do your show here pretty soon, man. I really appreciate all the time you spent with us, man. This has been
oh man, Patrick, it was fun.
I haven't laughed this hard on a podcast, man. So I appreciate
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no, this has been awesome. And I haven't drank on a podcast, so the tequila's been awesome. I've been sipping it like nothing. Have you seen me? I've just been drinking just like nothing. Very smooth. I gotta say,
telling you, everybody, I'm not telling you this because I own it. I'm telling you, I would not own it if I didn't truly believe in my heart. It is the best tequila in the world, and it's good for you. And again, I'm not selling anything. I'm just sharing the good mood that I'm in, and that's all we're doing. And the day you taste it, you're going to go, all right, he was fucking right. He was absolutely right. And so I invite you, anyone that hears and sees this, try Number Juan Tequila, and do me and Ron White a personal favor. Ask for it, because I'm going to tell you again, this is not Brown-Forman. This is not Diageo. This is not Sazerac. Those are all huge liquor companies that own a gillion labels. This is Alex and Ron White that own this tequila label, and we do it because we genuinely believe in it. And guess what? We've never been in shitty movies. We've never been in shitty sitcoms because, and I like to believe that our shows are genuine and real because we're real. And that's why we do the concert series, because we just like to have fun. And the day you try it, you're gonna say, you know what? He wasn't fucking lying to me. So try it, ask for it. And your podcast is all over the place. We're in 15 states now. We're all over the state of Texas. Just ask for this tequila. Look it up. Order it online. You can do that. Not in every state, but in some states. Number Juan.
Nice. Yeah, Texas. I think you can in Texas. I'm not sure. But it's definitely all the Total Wines. Okay, Texas people, go to the
Total Wines. A lot of the Specs, goodies. You know, a lot of independent stores. A lot of people giving us mad support. Check it out.
And
check
it's
it out.
like I said,
look for
a great bottle. Yeah. Oh, what's the?
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was supposed to shoot it in October, and of course the pandemic hit, which halted all rehearsals and all the though I was working on it, And so, like I said, November 28th will be my first show. We're going to live stream it. But I would like to believe if the world even begins to turn a little bit, that maybe by next October, I'll shoot a special.
Okay.
And,
yeah. Right on.
But who knows? Maybe I'll just keep doing live streams and tell you what I'm thinking every day. I don't know.
Do you think there'll be live streaming comedy? I guess you do need an audience, right? That would be weird to.
You got to have an audience. You got to have an audience. Yeah, you can't. Yeah. You got to have an audience. Even if it's 40 or 50 people, you can build that energy, and people can tune in. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be
listen.
By yourself.
I'm just totally thinking of that right now. Like, just see one person, and then they're waiting for the laughter, right? Because I guess.
Yeah. And mad respect to the musicians that we have on the quarantine concert series, because they're playing to an empty room, just a studio, but music is a little different. It's
kind of close your eyes,
fly on the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
You just jam. Jam, which is what I tell every artist when I book them. I say, look, man, this is what I'm looking for, and they've been fantastic. I invite you to everybody, please check that out. Go like the Number Juan Tequila Facebook page. Go like my page, Alex Reymundo. On Facebook and check out what we're doing, because I can promise you it'll be fun.
That's awesome, man. I'm really happy that you guys, get back out and start doing some shows, even if it's something, right? It's something to just get the ball rolling again. So no, that's awesome, man. And again, thank you for the time. Thank you for recommending this tequila. Definitely a fan. It's definitely going to be in the rotation for sure. And I recommend everyone do the same thing. And look, I'll do a better promotion of it in the intro that I'll do for the show. So by this time in the episode that they've heard it, they've already heard me do a badass intro for it. So I should say,
I'm just going to recommend right now. I'm going to just say right now, Patrick, I'm going to recommend that we put that bottle at the beginning. We put it on your desk every show, and you just sip tequila while you interview these artists.
That's interesting. That could be interesting. I don't mind having a little sip of tequila with every.
Turns out, I know a guy that could maybe make that happen.
I mean, we're talking. It's done deal. I'll do it.
What's funny is somebody asked me not too long ago. They said, Alex, you're a comedian, you're a dad, you're a husband. They go, how is it you have time to run this company? Because me and Ron run it.
That's true.
And I said, well, have you ever known a Mexican to have one job? No.
Oh shit, that's so true too. That is so.
I'm just trying to figure out how to have fun, Patrick. Yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm trying to. No matter what happens, pandemic, bring it. Plague. Hey, the fun must march on. That's one thing about Ron and I. Our commitment to the party has been relentless and sincere for 35 years, and it will continue, everybody. And I hope you continue to listen to my nonsense and my tequila. Boom,
absolutely. Yeah, salud. I mean, Ron was always salud. Mm-hmm. Ron was always famous, right, for having the cigar and a bourbon
and scotch.
Scotch. You never drank bourbon? I guess I didn't know it was scotch.
A little bit at one time, yeah. You want to hear a great story? Maybe we'll end it with this, just so people know the story. You guys know about me now, and if you didn't know me, you know me now. And if you did know me, you know my story. But the first time Ron White ever did stand-up comedy, and he'll tell you it was September 17th, 1986. He walked into the Arlington Funny Bone there on 360 in Arkansas. And it was open mic night, amateur night. Is amateur night, and Ron is nervous. He's afraid. He's about to do 4 minutes. Amateur night, first time ever. He's nervous. He's afraid. He goes to the bar to seek a little courage. He orders a Budweiser and a shot of tequila. And on that day, Alex Reymundo was the bartender. I served Ron that shot of tequila, and we became immediate friends. And we smoked dope in the back of the club that night. And we just, and guess what? That story hasn't ended. We're still together. We're still having fun.
That is so awesome. Wow. Wow. That is an amazing story, man. Wow. What a great
It's fun. When I think about it, I'm like, that's pretty cool. It all started with a shot of tequila. He went on to do the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. I went on to do the Latin Kings, and it's been a fun, joyous ride. And And Ron and I constantly look at each other and celebrate the fact that we're still having fun. You know, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that we're still having fun, but it's because we seek it, you know, and we instigate it.
Yeah. No,
you know?
man, that's
so,
awesome.
So come on,
that's
everybody.
Awesome.
We're waiting on you.
That's awesome, man. It's inspiring, to be frank with you. That is inspiring, man. Because I think
Thanks.
a lot of people want to, I know personally myself, we already talked about this. I want to do what I love to do. So for instance, this podcast, you know, I've been doing a year. We're already signed up for another year. So I'm excited. I get to keep doing something that I love to do.
Man.
And, you know, I keep telling myself I'm going to work. I work so hard at anything I'm doing that I love so that I can continue to do it. That's what I tell myself all the time, right? Like that's how it goes. So anyway, man, wow, this has been just absolutely amazing, Alex. I just can't tell you enough. This is going to be a great episode.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, everybody's going to be super excited about this one, man. So I know you got another show going up. So man, you're going to,
we got to start. We got to start the
session.
show in 15 minutes. Yeah.
Oh
I got to drink some more. I got to drink more. Ron's about to join me in about 8 minutes and he's going to go, are you already drunk? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. But hey, I've said that since I met him. So
yeah, you know. He's gonna be like, what's new? He's not gonna. Yeah.
What's new? What's new?
Funny.
It's all about the fun. Patrick, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you again, brother. Appreciate it so much. We'll send you a link, when the episode goes off. So just so you know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll push it. And a big salute to the Lone Star.
Thank you so much, brother. Star. My best to you and your family. Buenas noches, que lo pasas bien.
Buenas noches, mi amigo. Fue un placer y gracias por la invitación. Claro, and if you don't speak Spanish, it's time to learn, fuckers. It's time to learn. Time to learn.
Get that Google Translate out. My help. Yeah. It'll be wrong. So,
cheers,
Alex. Cheers, brother. Salud.
The Lone Star Plate podcast is produced by Texas Real Food. Go to texasrealfood.com and you can search your city for stores, butchers, restaurants, farmers markets, and more who are using fresh, artisanal, organic sources. It's a fun site that brings all natural options all together. I hope you enjoyed this episode. For more information, go to thelonestarplate.com. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Until next time.